ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। We'll just wait for a few minutes and then get started. I'm waiting for the others to join in.
Nothing is heard. Hello.
Yeah, Jai Gurudev. Sorry, there was a delay today because I was waiting for the others to come in that could take up the reading. But I will get started now. I think we did Matra Sparshasthu Kanteya yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And I think we finished this one. Physical pain or sorrow was done. Yeah, so I'll just start from here and then go to the next verse. What is there to worry about? The coming and going of the opposites is a fact. Thus, when Krishna told Arjuna, endure them, titikshasva, he was not offering advice, he was being objective. What is the need for this objectivity? Because situations are constantly changing. the pleasant as well as the unpleasant. To think that only the pleasant ones change and not the unpleasant is not correct. What then is there to worry about for a person who is objective, who has a certain appreciation for what the world and its situations are all about? There is no reason for sorrow. There are just situations to face and act upon, whether inner or outer. There is nothing to be sad about. So, being objective and not subjective. The moment you start being subjective and start saying, I am going through all this, and start complaining, then you end up in sorrow. Whereas when you look at it objectively, the world is full of opposites. So their nature is to come and go. Pleasant and unpleasant situations, joy and sorrow. So when you remove yourself and look at them objectively, then there is nothing to worry about. They are just situations to face and act upon, whether inner or outer. There is nothing to be sad about. So these situations, inner and outer, inner situations are all this, the way of thinking, what is going on in our mind, the self-talk. And outer situations are, of course, all those that happen outside the body. Further, he said, Yam hi na vyathayantyete purusham purusharshabha samadukha sukham dhiram somritatvaya kalpate. Yam hi na purusha rishabha. O the prominent among men, Arjuna, ete, these two, sukha and dukkha, sama dukkha sukham, the one who is same in pleasure and pain, dhiram, one who is discriminating, yam purusham, the person whom na vyathayanti, do not affect, saha, he, indeed, amritatvaya, for gaining liberation, moksha, kalpate, is fit. So, Purusha Rishabha, ete samadukha sukham dhiram yam purusham na vyathayanti saha hi amritatvaya kalpate. O Arjuna, the prominent among men, the person whom these sukha and dukkha do not affect, who is the same in pleasure and pain, and who is discriminative, is fit for gaining liberation. So he's giving the eligibility criteria for this, for moksha. In this verse, Krishna addresses Arjuna as a Purusha Rishabha, whose literal meaning is a bull, Rishabha, among men. Among large herds of cattle, the stud bull always stands out because of its size and the big hump on its back. Just as a bull cannot be missed among hundreds of cows, so too Arjuna stood out as the most exalted of men. Even those who did not know who Arjuna was would have acknowledged him because of his brilliance, tejas. He was a man of great accomplishment and a highly recognized person in the society. So he was addressed as Purusha Rishabha, the most prominent among men. A discriminative person remains the same with reference to the opposites. Pleasant and unpleasant situations do not affect the person. Such a person is aware of their coming and going, of their constantly changing nature. In the Bhashya, Shankara makes it clear that this is not just a matter of practicality. A wise person knows himself as Atma, one who cannot be affected by any situation. Such a person is called Dhira, meaning one who is discriminating, one who has knowledge of the Nitya Atma. The word Pandita, used in an earlier verse, is replaced here by the word Dhira, meaning one who is not affected by the opposites, and who therefore gains moksha, amritatva. Mritatva means being subject to mortality, whereas amritatva is to be free from mortality. Knowing the Atma as the one that is Nitya, the wise gain moksha. One who is discriminative, who accepts situations happily, and who does not allow himself or herself to be swayed by either pleasant or unpleasant situations, is one who is fit for self-knowledge or who already has this knowledge. Krishna obviously wanted to make this fact clear at the outset. So let's just do Manana on this verse before going on to verse 16. So one who is objective with respect to the pairs of opposites, and one who does not get entangled in them, one who is not affected by them. He is eligible for this Amritattva. In other words, a wise person is one who has already gained moksha. A dhira is one who does not get affected by the pairs of opposites. So it's both the eligibility criteria as well as, of course, the feature of a person who has gained moksha. Before I proceed further, I just want to check, is any of you able to read today? Because I need to go to work, and I was wondering if either of...
Yes, Brahmaraji, I can do now.
Because no one mentioned in the group, so I was wondering.
Yeah. I have class till 6:20, no, 6:15. One of your strawberries from our garden. I can do, Brahmaraji. Give me 2 minutes.
Hari Om.
Yes, sir.
I can read. Yeah, I can read. I didn't mention because usually, like I don't have any fixation in the morning, so I just leave that whatever
No problem.
one.
So you can go ahead and then start, okay?
Okay.
So I can continue to read till you get ready to share,
Okay.
and
Sure.
then you can continue, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Savita ji.
Welcome.
We actually did all of this. We're doing a little repetition, which is good. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sataha, ubhayorapi drishtontaha, tvanayostattvadarshibhihi. Asataha, for the unreal, that is mithya, bhavaha, being, na vidyate, is not there. Sataha, for the real, api, also, abhavaha, non-being or absence, na vidyate, is not there. Ubhayoho anayoho, of these two, the sat and asat, antaha, the ultimate truth, tattva darshibhihi, by the knowers of the truth, tu, indeed, drishtaha, is seen. Asataha bhavaha na vidyate. Sataha api abhavaha na vidyate. Ubhayoho anayoho antaha tattvadarshibhihi tu drishtaha. For the unreal, that is mithya, there is never any being. For the real, there is never any non-being. The ultimate truth of both of these is seen by the knowers of the truth. This is a very important verse, even though cryptic. For the asat, a word we shall use as it is, there is no being, bhava. In other words, being is not there for the asat. And for the sat, There is no non-being. In the second line of the verse, Krishna went on to say that this fact is known by those people who know the ultimate truth about Sat and Asat. The first line is the crux of the verse.
Shall I share, Dr. Brahma?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be reading till you get the second chapter. Asat means something that does not exist independently, and Sat is what exists independent of anything else. What is it that exists independently? Cold and heat, for example, do not exist independently because they depend upon a number of factors. There is no absolute cold existing by itself. That something is cold depends upon something else. The temperature cannot reveal itself to you by itself unless you have a perception. Therefore, your perception is essential in order to understand that something is cold and something else is hot. When you say, this is a pot, does the word pot reveal an object that exists by itself? Or does the object indicated by the word pot depend for its existence upon something else? If it depends on something else, clay, because of which the pot is there and unto which it will go back, that clay becomes the cause, karana, for the pot. The word pot has no real object outside of the word itself. It has no existence apart from clay. That which has a cause, that which depends upon something for its existence, that which does not independently exist, is called asat.
Uh,
Are you
my screen visible?
Yeah, your screen is visible.
Okay. Do you want to complete this? Or?
Yeah, I'll complete this one. Shankara explains asat further. When we try to prove the existence of things that are dependent upon causes for their existence, when we try to prove the existence of things that are dependent upon causes for their existence, such as cold and heat or any given object, we find there is no self-existent thing at all among the objects of the world. Why? Because what is there is only a form, vikara, that keeps changing, vyabhicharati. It is never the same, nor can it be the same. Shankara goes on to prove a point here. Suppose all pots are made of clay, but you have knowledge of only one pot. You know it is clay. If you know Satya, the truth, the cause karana of all pots to be non-dual clay, regardless of what form any or all pots assume, you know that they are nothing but this one clay. By knowing that one clay, you know all pots in the sense that they are not separate from the clay. Although this is general knowledge, samanya jnana of all pots as clay, and not the particular knowledge, vishesha jnana of individual pots, it is knowledge of the whole. I think you can take over from here. You may want to start with that explanation is from the Chandogya Upanishad of Asat.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you, Dr. Savita. Jai
Yeah,
Gurudev.
most welcome. This explanation is from the Chandogya Upanishad, where in one particular sentence it is said that before this creation there was only one thing, the Sat Vastu, which was non dual, one without a second, undifferentiated, nothing else was there. From that Sat Vastu alone, called Brahman, everything has come and is non separate from it. Nothing exists apart from Sat. This knowledge was revealed in this Upanishad to Shvetaketu, who had been sent by his father to a Gurukula at the age of 12. He returned at the age of 24, very proud of his accomplishments, having studied the Vedas for 12 years. Shvetaketu's father was a great man. He could not stand his son's arrogance, so he asked his son, "Did you ask your teacher for that knowledge, gaining which everything is known?" The boy replied that he did, and he said, "How can you know one thing?" The boy replied that he did not think his teacher knew this. Later, he asked his father if there was such a knowledge. And he said, "How can you know one thing and thereby know everything else? If there is such a knowledge, please teach me, O Lord." The same topic is discussed in the Mundaka Upanishad. The only difference between that there the student asked his question to the teacher, whereas in Chandogya Upanishad the father asked Shvetaketu, who said he didn't know. Then Shvetaketu asked his father to teach him. So,
Can I go back to the paragraph from the clay pot? The
clay pot, okay.
Yeah, the Shankara goes on like.
Shankara explains Asat further from here.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Shankara explains Asat further. When we try to prove the existence of things that are dependent upon causes for their existence, such as cold and heat or any given objects, we find there is no self existent thing at all among the objects of the world. Why? Because what is there is only a form, vikara, that keeps changing, vyabhicharati. It is never the same, nor can it be the same. Shankara goes on to prove a point here. Suppose all pots are made of clay, but you have knowledge of only one pot. You know it is clay. If you know Satya, the truth, the cause, Karana of all pots to be non dual clay, regardless of what form any or all pots assume, you know that they are nothing but this one clay. By knowing that one clay, you know all pots in the sense that they are not separate from the clay. Although this is a general knowledge, samanya jnana of all pots as clay, and not the particular knowledge, vishesh jnana of individual pots. It is knowledge of the whole. Then, what is a pot? It is purely a name for a form. Other than this, there is no pot that exists separate from clay, nor is the clay the pot. If it were, again you would not need to make the pot, the clay being there already. Therefore, the clay is not the pot. If you remove the clay, where is the pot? Is it anywhere? Is it something that you have to search for? No. All that is there for the name pot is a form recognized as such. Anything that is time bound, like a pot, will change and you cannot stop it because Its nature is to keep on changing. When and how are you going to stop it? Therefore, what are you crying for? What are you sad for? Are you sad for something eternal because it is eternal? No. Sat is that which never changes. It has no non existence, abhava at all. Sat is never negated at any time, whereas Asat never enjoys a being of its own. Therefore, Sat cannot create any sorrow for you, and Asat is incapable of doing so because it does not exist in its own right. How can Asat create sorrow? In the vision of the Veda, you are the Sat and everything else is Asat. Asat cannot be a source of sorrow to Sat, and Sat cannot be a source of sorrow to you because it is you. The whole problem is one of confusion between Sat and Asat, between Atma and Anatma. Asat has no being, no bhava. It has no existence. Thus, it cannot be bhava, that which exists in all three periods of time. A thing that exists is bhava, and abhava is the thing that does not exist. The word bhava comes from the root bhu, used in the sense of existence. So the main gist we can say is that that which is sat, it is example of like of a clay. The clay is the cause, the karana, and it without that clay is the karana. It is not depending upon anything for its existence. So the similarly the rupa, the naam is there of the pot, but the karana is the clay. So that is the satvastu. And everything is like it can take any form, maybe a pot or maybe anything, any shape. So that is the satya, the truth, and all that one clay is the sat, and all the pots they are the asat. Anyone else can explain it more, though it has been done again and again. That which does not change and which has no non-existence, that is the abhava. Shall I continue further? Dr. Mara?
Yes, fine.
Okay.
Like you
And
said, that's that asat is abhava, right? And
yeah.
whereas the sat is bhava, it exists, and that's the main information there. So that's a difference between the atman and atma also.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm in
Anal-
my daughter's house. There's like a little bit noise, so that's why I didn't talk to you.
okay. Analysis of existence and non-existence. Tuchha is another word for abhava and refers to certain combinations that do not exist at all. For example, man's horn, Manushya Shringa does not exist. Horn exists and man exists. Both are bhava, both exist. For these words, there are objects in the world which I know exist. But when I combine the two as man's horn, there is no such thing. Does the word asat in the verse means tuchha, non-existent? No, because it is unnecessary to say that something that is non-existent has no being. In some modern commentaries on the Gita, however, we do find asat being translated as and equated to non-existent. What purpose is served by this sentence? The the non-existent, such as the man's horn, has no existence. No purpose is served by this sentence. That which we refer to as asat has an order of reality which is neither satya, bhava, nor tuchha. There is another type of abhava between these two, a non-existent existence that we called asatya. For instance, we cannot dismiss the sense organs and sense objects as totally non-existent. Tuchha. Are they then sat? Let us analyze them. So the third state is the tuchha, which we cannot dismiss. It is not totally non-existent. A sense organ cannot be called a sense organ unless it perceives something. Eyes are a sense organ only because they see a form. Ears are a sense organ because they hear a sound, and the senses of smell, taste, and touch are all called sense organs because they contact their sense objects. How can you call eyes a sense organ if they do not see? If ears do not hear, there is no sense organ, even though the earlobes may be used for earrings or for catching hold of someone. The earlobes, etc., are just the anatomical aspects of the sense called hearing. It is hearing that makes the ear a sense organ, and there is no such thing as sound without the ears, which establishes what? To establish the existence of one, we need to establish the existence of the other. When establishing the existence of either one, which depends on establishing the existence of the other, there must be some other basis for the existence of both. Thus, all of them depend on something that is self existent called Sat. Because we cannot dismiss the sense organs and their sense objects as non existent, we say they are asat. They are not totally non existent, that is, atyanta abhava. The sense organs and the sense objects do exist. All the responses of pleasure and pain, sukha and dukha exist. You cannot dismiss them as non existent, nor can you take them as independently existent. Therefore, for something that cannot be dismissed as non existent, tucha, and cannot be taken as independently existent, sat, we have to have a word, and that word is asat. Another word for asat is mithya. Asat or mithya is that which has no bhava, that which depends upon sat. Only when there is sat is asat possible. Therefore, mithya or asat is something whose existence depends upon another thing, and because it has no independent existence, it is not separate from that upon which it depends. This last paragraph, it compiles everything. That non-existent, the tuchha, because it also cannot exist independently. It it has some it needs something to depend, like the example given of the sense organ. Those sense organ itself, they cannot exist independently apart from the sat. When sat is there, then only the asat is possible. Without sat, the asat would not be possible. And asat or mithya, they are the same, like in the same, we can say they are the like synonyms. And they do not have any bhava because their existence depend on the sat. Objects do not exist independently. When a pot is made, before it is baked, there is only clay. Thus, once upon a time, the pot was clay. When it became a pot, it was clay in the form of pot. Even though it has been fired, it is nothing but clay. All that has happened is that the clay now has an added attribute, guna, the pot form. This added attribute is what is meant by creation. Creative possibilities are there, but there is no such thing as a clay pot without clay. When we look at anything in this world, we always find that it is a form with a name depending on some other substantive vastu. A particular form, rupa, is called asat. It has the nature of its substantive, but in itself has no bhava. By the time you see an object, it has already changed. It is never the same in the next moment. It is like seeing a film projected on a white screen. It looks as though someone is standing there, but in fact, the frame is continuously changing. Similarly, frame in one's mind keep on changing exactly like the film. This is what makes it possible for us to see motion. Because what you have seen is already gone and you do not see it again in the same form, an object has no real bhava. In a flowing river, you do not get the same water at the same place. It is over, gone, flowing constantly in the flow of time. Similarly, any perception we have is conditioned by time and therefore has the nature of being merely an appearance. It is as though there and not really there because it is always changing. It is as though all the time. All objects in the world are time bound. When you see an object, that object is not seen by you as an independent object. You always see some other thing along with it. When you see a shirt, for example, you also see cloth, and when you see the cloth, you see a particular material. Thus, you find that the shirt has no existence apart from its cause, karana, the cloth. Not only can you not create a shirt without cloth, you cannot imagine one either. Cloth here refers to any material with which the shirt is made. Without cloth, paper, or some other material, it is impossible to make a shirt even in your imagination. You can imagine an elephant entering your ear by seeing yourself as very big, but you cannot imagine making a shirt without cloth. No object exists by itself apart from its cause. An object that does not exist independent of something else cannot have the word Sat imputed to it. It can only be called Asat because Sat will be the one upon which the object depends for its bhava. If I remove the cloth, can you wear the shirt? All you will have is the emperor's clothes. There is no such thing as shirt without the material with which it is made. For the word shirt, there is no corresponding object at all. Bhava means it must independently exist, and because the cloth is the bhava, the shirt has no independent substantive status. Nor can you say the cloth with which the shirt is made is Sat, because it too depends upon something else. Then what is the real Sat? That which exists by its own glory and does not depend on anything else for its existence is called Sat or Satya. Just because something is a cause does not mean it is Satya. Causes themselves depend on their causes and therefore are also Asat. So initially we read that about that the Karana, the cause, it was the example of a pot that was explained as Sat. But because the the causes they are also depend upon something, like example of the shirt given, that the shirt depends on the cloth, then further the cloth depends upon the fiber, and then the fiber from that the source of the cotton which we grow. So it is all like a chain, and it is that fiber, and then you further expand it, then it is again that that it will end to that proton neutron that the material is made of basically. So it is the cause is also not the Sat, because its existence is again dependent further. So that which exists by its own glory and does not depend on anything else for its existence is called Sat or Satya. Because just because something is a cause does not mean it is Satya. Cause themselves depend on their causes and therefore are also Asat. And one thing which was this, that everything keeps on changing, just like I see that
Even
a
the
sun.
cloth, the material is like uh, it's not going to last forever, right? I mean, it's going to
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
it is time
yeah,
bound. Everything is time bound.
yeah.
That is what
Everything
I
is
was
time.
about to say. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the perception is any perception we have is conditioned by time, and
Uh-huh.
therefore two things are there, that it is conditioned by time, and it has the nature of being merely an appearance. That it is as though there,
Mm.
and it is always in that changing form. It keeps on changing, just as we look our body from the childhood, as the aging is happening, it is consistently it is going under change day by day. So it is as though we are existing, but the change is happening with time, and we are time bound, we have to leave one day. So similarly, any object we see, it has its age, and it is therefore asat. So why do we see the sat in the asat? If everything is asat, how is it that we see the world as real, as sat? We say the world is. We do not look at it as something that is not. This is because in every perception there are two buddhis. Here, buddhi means knowledge, cognition. One buddhi is with reference to the object and the other is with the reference to its asat buddhi, the is not buddhi. The is not buddhi has to be explained. The problem is that we take the is not as is and get confused. This confusion leads to sukha and dukkha. When we see a pot, there is a pot buddhi, pot cognition, and we say the pot is. That buddhi cognition, whose object is the pot, undergoes a change similar to the changing frame in a moving film. It is this buddhi that is called asad buddhi. That which does not undergo a change is called sat buddhi. Suppose the pot you are looking at is replaced by another object, a tree. The pot is gone and the tree is there in its place. Previously, we said the pot is, and now we say the tree is. If we analyze these two cognitions, we can say that the is buddhi never goes. The pot goes because it is asat, and the sat that is always there is now with the tree. When the tree buddhi goes, branch buddhi may be there, and when the branch buddhi is gone, leaf buddhi is there. When the leaf buddhi is gone, chlorophyll buddhi is there. And when the chlorophyll buddhi is gone, particle buddhi is there. When particle buddhi is gone, whatever buddhi that is left will still be there. What is it that remains? Sat. That is always there. Is always is. Therefore, it is called Sat, that which does not change, whereas the object whose buddhi changes is called Asat. The object is Asat because the buddhi keeps changing. We recognize it differently each time it changes. In every perception, then, there are two buddhis, the object buddhi and the is buddhi. When we say blue pot, Neela Ghata, both words indicate the same object. The object that is blue is pot, and the object that is pot is blue. Similarly, when I say, please meet Mr. So and so, the musician, both Mr. So and the musician are one and the same object. When we say Arjuna, Pandava, there is only one person, Arjuna, and he is a Pandava. In all these situations, there is a substantive, adjective relationship. The word blue is an adjective to the pot in the expression blue pot. However, this is not so when we say the existent pot or this is a pot. Here it seems as though the isness is an adjective to the pot. It is not correct. The pot is the adjective to existence. The potness qualifies isness. Here there is Sat Buddhi, meaning that the pot exists, and there is also Pot Buddhi, the object Buddhi, which are two different things. To say this is a pot definitely implies isness, since the word is used. There are therefore always two buddhis, Sat Buddhi and Asat Buddhi, that is object Buddhi. Only Asat Buddhi, object Buddhi changes, meaning that the existent Sat Buddhi is conditioned by an object as its attribute is always there. When the tree is in the form of a tree. When the tree is in the form of a tree. Similarly, is can be in the form of a pot, a person, a nose, a body, or anything. Existence is also in the form of thought. Therefore, if there is no thought, what is there is existence minus thought. Existence minus the body, existence minus the world is existence. That existence Sat is always there, not affected by any addition to or subtraction from it. So existence is also in the form of thought. So two type of buddhi is buddhi and is not buddhi. The is buddhi is always there, whereas that is not buddhi. The asat buddhi keeps on changing. Like example given was of a, like if the frame it keeps on changing, like that isness remains, but that is buddhi is there, but that asad buddhi that is sorry, this was the
The
is
object
not
buddhi, right? They keep
the object
changing.
buddhi keeps on changing.
Yeah, that's
As
whereas the yeastness, like of the asad buddhi, is that sat, basically subjective, right? Yeah.
yeah. This line, the problem is that we take the is not as is and get confused. This confusion leads to sukha and dukkha. Time is over. I didn't see. Oh, it's already 8:35. This we can discuss tomorrow that is not and is this confusion leads to sukha and dukkha. That is, we relate to the asad buddhi more, no, is is not buddhi. That is why we land into dukkha or misery. So we can have the manana tomorrow. I think it's already 8:32. Anyone wants to say or wants to have
Yeah,
few
it's
minutes?
already eight
Yeah,
o'clock.
8:32. Yeah,
Mm.
I didn't see. Okay, we'll read it tomorrow again. I'll stop sharing.
सर आपके हिसाब से आजकल लोग सबसे ज्यादा हेल्थ मिस्टेक क्या कर रहे हैं?
देखिए मेरे हिसाब से दिन में 24 घंटे होते हैं.
Meditation is accepting this moment, living every moment totally with depth. Let us keep our spine erect.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्ति मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ श्री कृष्णार्पणमस्तु.
And body relax. Meditation is accepting this moment, living every moment totally with depth. Let us keep our spine erect and body relaxed and eyes closed. Relax your shoulders. Keep a big smile on your face. You're sitting like the statue of Buddha, very serene and with a serene smile on your face. Relax your body. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Become aware of your chest region, throat and chest region. If you notice some tension in the body, just let it be. Except those parts of the body where you feel a tension, the other parts are in comfort. Other parts are at peace. Become aware of that also. There are many good things about you and inside of you. Acknowledge them. They will never leave you. And the negative aspect you may see in you is never going to stay with you forever. They are all guests for some time. Let them be. Sit with the total acceptance of yourself the way you are at this very moment. Total acceptance of what is now here will lead us to deeper meditation. Let go of all the effort. Om Shanti Shanti Let go of all your effort and be in this emptiness. And slowly and gradually become aware of body and surroundings. And you may gently open your eyes.